Well, the USMEF was started back in 1976, and it was primarily started with producers who had a lot of interest in the export market. We have basically 9 separate sectors coming together for the sole purpose of trying to export more U.S. beef, pork, and lamb. So for the investment that you have from corn and soybeans, multiply that then we get from the checkoffs from beef and pork, multiply that then what you get from the U.S. government, and multiply that what we get when we go overseas and we work with retailers, et cetera. There's a huge multiplier effect that takes us maybe from initially, our budget today maybe is about $35–40 million, and we probably would have close to a 4 to 1 or close to almost $100 million worth of a promotion that we would do internationally with our friends and franchising everyone in. So it's a real process of franchising in people who benefit from the export of our product, and that's how that multiplier effect is what gives us that impact in the markets. Individual companies can't compete like a whole industry and like a country. So what we really do is position the U.S. advantage, et cetera, but it's really a collaborative effort, and that's what makes us, I think, very, very powerful. So advantage US, the fact that we can supply any buyer with whatever item they want on a consistent basis in the quantity that they require. And so we take that's one of our leverage points, that's an advantage. But actually when we go into whether it's white tablecloth or family style, we look at what items would be available, what items can they use on a consistent basis, what items can we displace competition with or domestic domestic supply with, and then we work on that. Today, market development is very important, but market displacement is another one of the key 3 Ds that we use in marketing here. And that means we have a lot of competition. And so the idea here is it's not always finding a new market, but it's displacing competition already in existing markets. And that's one thing that we really work on. The 3rd D is, frankly, defending. In other words, we have to defend the market. We defend the way we produce our products. We defend our pork quality assurance, our beef quality assurance. We talk about our quality corn, the feed, all these types of things. That's a lot of what we're doing. So market development, market displacement, and then defending these markets. Every day, somewhere in the world, some country is changing their import regulations. They're looking at science. They're saying, hey, we need to change these regulations, these tolerances, all these types of things. We're looking at all this. We have the expertise with the staff, with the language abilities. We speak about 24 languages within this organization. So as you take a look at all this, we're constantly staying on top of what are these changes, what are the regulatory changes that are going on, so we can convey this to our packers and people to export the product. And I think everybody knows the more you can diversify your portfolio, the more stable you're going to be. If you take a look at exports and you take a look at the corn producer in Nebraska, for example, 30 years ago, his major outlet was through the Grains Council and exporting corn. The fastest growing sector in U.S. agriculture in the export arena has been the red meat sector. And beef has been very strong in that sector. If beef exports are the fastest growing sector, it makes sense to put the two together. So today, you have not only what the Grains Council is doing, exporting, their sister organization, the USMEF, is exporting the meat. That's advantage for the corn producer. If you talk about a 3-legged stool, rather than having just the one leg through the Grains Council, the second leg through the MEF, well, you have the 3rd leg through the renewable fuels. I mean, what a beautiful area you have when it comes to the export arena, because you have the RFS, you have the Grains Council, and the USMEF. It just diversifies the portfolio and makes a corn producer much more stronger and secure. That's why today a beef producer from Nebraska is enjoying about a $300 premium from the export market. That's the dividend you get from exporting. If you're producing pork, it's about $60 a head. And we export about 25% of our U.S. pork production, about close to 15% of the beef production. So this is really the difference of being in the black, when it comes to production. It's critical.